So welcome to the show today. This is a Productive Agent podcast. I'm your host, Rob Aubrey. This is powered by Aubrey Home Loans. And today we have one of our special guests is Linda Burtch. I've known her for, oh gosh, I don't know, a long time. I know that. Linda has been around in real estate for, I don't know. Well, how long have you been in real estate now? I forget.
Just past 15-year mark.
So
15
that's
years in
about how long?
October.
Yeah, I've known you at least around that time frame is when
Yeah.
we met, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So great. So this is part of our top producer series. So in the top producer series, you have to have at least 30 closed transactions in a 12-month period to qualify. So we like to have conversations about, you said you've been in real estate 15 years, what did you do before real estate? What made you decide to get in real estate? Everybody's got their story of how they got here.
Yeah, that's a good question. So for many, many years, I worked in the service industry. I started washing dishes as soon as I could get a job. And I worked a number of back of house kitchen jobs and moved to the front of the house and started serving, and then eventually got into bartending. And I was a bartender in downtown Salt Lake City for a number of years and realized that, nobody promotes you to owner in the bar
No.
business. So what was I going to do next?
Yeah, you pretty much capped out at bartender.
Yeah.
I mean, even managers like, yeah, it's not even worth it.
Yeah,
it's a
looking at
title,
the
not a
numbers,
raise.
didn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Utah is a lower wage state kind of, and I couldn't work for tips in this town, that's for sure. Utah's pretty tight. Salt Lake,
Yeah,
maybe not so much, but
I mean, it was a good experience. It taught me a
sure.
lot about people, and it allowed me the opportunity to create a large network of people.
Right.
And I just had this love of architecture and buildings and design, and I really wanted to get into architecture. That was kind of my next move when I decided to exit the bartending world. And I very quickly realized that the large majority of the architecture world had transitioned to CAD design and computers.
Right.
And it's just I love technology. I use technology on a daily basis, but it's not something that I wanted to make into a career.
Right.
And so the next logical transition from there was go to real estate school and learn how to sell real estate in 2008, mind you, when everyone was running, screaming the other direction.
Well, that's the time to get in, because if you learn then when the market shifts, you're like, this is easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I figured if I could make it in 2008, I'd be okay.
Yeah, you had to talk to more people, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say, architectural. So I know like Salt Lake, I lived up in Salt Lake. And then after our second baby, it was like, I always say, then we moved down to the suburbs and got indoor plumbing, it's like, those old bungalows in Salt Lake. But it's cool. Like you can go through the avenues and come down like Sugar Hood, Sugar House area, like Sugar Hood, like where you got the bungalows. And you could literally do a historical architectural tour.
Yeah.
Right. Because the avenue's late 1800s. Then you come down further where you got the bungalows. We're in the 1900s up to the 1920s. And then 1929, when the Great Depression started, there was hardly anything built in the 30s. But then after World War II, as you start going further east into Sugar House, you had all they're called post-war cottages. So, and then you go a little further south, then you get into the mid-century modern. You literally can take a tour and visit all the architectural styles by a year.
Yeah. And I mean, growing
cool.
up here and knowing all of that and just living in it day to day, it was one of those things that I wanted to understand the history behind it and like the direction that the whole industry was taking. And that was the inspiration for even getting my real estate license. It wasn't like, we hear all the time, like, oh, I got my real estate license so I can work for myself and I can be independently wealthy and blah, 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 yada, yada. Like I got in just purely because I love houses and I wanted to be a part of that.
Right. Yeah. I've had two major careers, and they were both in houses. Before I was a real estate agent, I was a house painter. So, I mean, I spent, pretty much since the mid 80s till now in houses, So,
Yeah.
and that's just, I liked painting. The problem I had with painting was I didn't like the business side of it because it was the labor force. When I was a kid growing up, my father was a painter. Painters were typically drinkers back then, and but then, as I got older and starting to go in the late 80s, early 90s, they were drug addicts, and I was like, can't be bringing drug addicts in people's houses, So I kind of got out of that business. Like, I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah.
So I got in real estate. So that's how I did it. So, you
Oh,
know, so, so tell me, so you've been in 15 years. What would you say some of the things you learned the most about as a real estate agent? What are your some of your most fun things, and what are the one things you can't stand about real estate, or maybe not can't stand, but like your least favorite?
yeah. So those are good questions. I would say probably my favorite part about this industry is the people, right?
Right,
Like it's never boring.
right,
No transaction is like another. The people are different, the situations are different, the house
right,
is different. Like the variety is the thing that I love the most.
right,
Um, and then completely on the opposite side of that, the thing that I like least about real estate is actually the thing that makes me the most money, which is the consistency of doing the same thing over
right,
and over and over again, which is reaching out to your sphere,
right,
calling on leads, and just
right,
generating the business. It gets repetitive and boring if you're doing it consistently. And that
right.
is the one part of this business that while I'm good at it and I do it, it's not my favorite part.
Doesn't fire you up, doesn't give you energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Ferry always used to say, the key is to master repetitious boredom.
Yes.
So have you
Yeah.
read, there's a book out there, I'm going to be getting certified in it. It's called The Working Genius. And it took us, you talked about things. And so what it does is all work, they call work as a 6-letter word, meaning in Working Genius, there's WIDGET, widget, which is wonder, inventive, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. And so everybody has two geniuses, two working competences, and two working frustrations. And so I'd be curious to see what yours is. So, but in
Yeah.
January, I'm taking a certification course to be able to teach it. So
Cool.
now, as like I said, one of the podcasts I've been listening to is the Working Genius podcast. So I've really kind of immersed myself in, because one of the things I'm going to do with that is I'm actually going to coach teams.
Oh, cool.
And so, it's like I'll coach individuals, obviously, but I'll do this like course with the team. I'll come in and, everybody on the team is going to do the assessment. We're going to do a team map, and we're going to say, look, everybody has their job. This person's probably better in this role. Like I give you an example. My coach, he was telling me he met with a team. It was a Keller Williams team in Missouri, and the guy had 2 listing agents, and the one listing agent just loved to go on appointments, and hated everything else. The other agent like hated going on appointments, but loved all the other stuff, and so he looked at their working geniuses. And so he said to the team leader, who had no inventive in him, so, he was just following the model, right? The MRA model, right? And so he
Yeah.
says, what if we took the listing agent's job and split it in half? And this person just does the office stuff and this person does the street stuff. And he goes, well, the model never said to do that. So he just stuck to the model. And so he did. Production skyrocketed. The people are happy. I'm like, that was pretty cool. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can learn that. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to coach teams.
I
So,
love that. That's really kind of the direction that my business has taken over the years as well. So I'm still an in production real estate agent. We still close between 30 and 50 deals a year with my little team. And I say my little team, we're a small and mighty team of 3
right.
people. I am the licensed agent. I have a full-time licensed transaction coordinator, and then my husband does all of our operations. So
Okay.
small group of people doing a big group of business. And on top of that, I've stepped into the team leader role here at Keller Williams. So I'm actually
The office team
coaching.
leader?
Yeah. So
Oh,
I'm
wow. I didn't
actually
know that.
coaching agents now too.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a recent addition to my resume. It's we're going on 2 months now.
And that's the Salt Lake office, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I was wondering when Boyd was going to merge all those offices now that he owns them all, you know?
One
Well,
step at a time, Rob. One step at a time.
there's so much redundancy if you have 3 different offices and like next to each other, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but anyway, well, that's cool. So you have your small team and so, you know, and yeah, so, and like I said, I do that certification coming up, or so, you know, my objective is to coach teams, you know, and go from there, you know,
Yeah.
and so I'm not going to charge for it. And real estate teams only because my objective obviously is FaceTime with people that can generate loans for me.
It's the value add, right? Like, have you
Yeah,
read 10x is better than 2x?
I haven't read that. I listened to 10x a long time ago.
Yeah. So
So 10x is better than 2x. I
they
like
talk
that.
about the 0-100 relationship. So this is about continually giving value at 100% to people.
Right,
Like, this is servant leadership at its finest. We're going to go out and we're going to change people's lives, and we're going to help people with no expectation of anything in
right.
return.
That's
And the
that's
results
my
are,
mantra, or
yeah,
that's one of
it's,
my
and
core values.
you get back what you put out there, right? And it
Yeah.
may not be this for that,
No, yeah,
but the
exactly.
intrinsic
It's
reward is
it's
that
hard
this
to
is why
track
we do
numbers
what we
on
do.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it meant like you serve the word servant leadership. My my coach is coaching me on a few books. One of them's Traction and the other one's Working Genius. So Traction, you have to have your core values. And so that's like number one. You hire to it, you train to it, and you evaluate on it. And so I heard a great phrase for firing was, we made them available to the market. I thought that was a
Yeah.
great way of saying you've been fired.
Yep.
But anyway, so my core values are, number one is servant leader. So you must have a heart to serve, you know, the consuming public and each other in the organization. And my second core value is Kaizen. So Kaizen is a Japanese word, and I got that from the book Toyota Way, which means always improving, always learning.
Yeah.
And then the third one is, in my mind, it was always ownership. But then I read a book called Extreme Ownership. So I changed the core value to extreme ownership. So have you
Yeah.
read that book?
Yeah.
That was a great book. I listen to books now, but that was really good. I love how he could just take his combat mission and convert it into a business application. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, that's the same thing with Never Split the Difference. I mean,
Right,
there are just a myriad of resources out there that talk about over and over the value of really putting people and relationships first and
right,
giving 100% of your best talents and sharing them.
right. Yep. So yeah, so those are my values, you know, and I like the idea that you hire to them. In other words, you share them with any applicant and say, these are our values, and then you evaluate based on that. You know, if they're low on one of them, you give them time to improve, you know, and some of them you can be a little more slack, you know, and you know, things like that. But anyway, I thought that was interesting, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny when your least favorite was, you know, the grind part. And so I had asked another agent the other week, I did a podcast with, I said, what was your least favorite? And she says, having to go to the bathroom when you're when you're out showing houses.
I guess, I mean, another one would be like, when do I eat lunch, right?
Right.
Like, as
Oh yeah.
realtors, like, when do you eat? When do you
Right.
take care of yourself? And that's been a focus, a real specific focus of mine over the last few years is, if I'm not taking care of myself, then I
Right.
can't take care of anybody else.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
would, if I was out running around with a buyer, I always had I had the cooler in the back, not necessarily full of ice or anything, but just keep from getting hot. But I always had like protein bars and water bottles,
Yeah.
because you just never know where you're going to wind up.
Well, and you never know when your client's going to be hangry and they're going to need a
Right.
Snickers or something,
Right. Yeah, that commercial where they're here to get a Snickers bar. You love that commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you just never know. Yeah, but I thought hers was hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
I was looking for something profound. And she's like, when you got to go to the bathroom.
I mean, the struggle is real.
Right. It's no doubt. So, so you're transitioning from coaching. So are you running the show or are you just coaching?
So I'm running the show over here, but in a very in a very stay in my lane type of way. I am
Got it.
surrounded by an incredible amount of highly talented people that all do their jobs exceptionally well. And my job is to coach and bring in agents that really are focused on leveling up in their business. So
Right.
I'm just in my favorite element right now. I
Right.
get to help change people's lives, and that's amazing.
Right. Yeah, I dig doing that too. So yeah, I'd be curious to see what your working geniuses are.
Well, my guess would probably be I've got a pretty high creative side.
So that would be
And
in, so that's either wonder or inventive. Wonder is
and
always asking the big question, why do we do it that way? Is there a better way?
it's probably more that. My parents have lovingly told me that since I was a tiny child, I have always asked a million questions about how
Right.
things work and why they work and how to make them work better.
Yeah, that sounds like wonder. And then
Yeah.
inventive is like, because I'm a WI, I'm a wonder and inventor, right? And then my working competences are discernment and tenacity. Like I can grind and get it done. I mean, and then my working frustrations are galvanizing and enablement is more of just the people with the genius of enablement. They're just like, whatever I'll help you, whatever you have to do. And I'm like, you come to me and say, we got to stuff these 500 envelopes. Can you help? I'm like, no, but I'll figure out how to invent a machine to do it. I mean, that's my genius is coming out, right? Because I like to do it. And they're like, no, I just need you to help me get this job done so we can move on to the next one. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, but see, I want to help you in my genius. And so, but somebody that has that working enablement and genius, they're like, they just, without us, they don't bat an eye, they just do it.
Yeah.
And so, that's one of my working frustrations and galvanizing. I thought, and I struggled with that. I'm like, because when I was a broker, I mean, people would call me all the time. I'd get them, here, do this. And then I realized that was actually inventive. So when they would call me up, I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out a solution. That's what inventive does. It figures out a solution. And I thought it was, and it took me a while to catch that wasn't galvanizing. That was inventive. And so, but yeah, you have to listen to the book. I mean, he does the book more of in a fable style. He tells a story where, people in his office, why was he grumpy? Because he was grumpy when he was doing things that were in his working frustration, not his working genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, good book. So I like the podcast more. The podcast is more meat and potatoes, where the book has some storyline to it, which is like, just get to the meat and potatoes. But how he puts it though, it helps you relate. So
Yeah. No, I'll
so,
definitely have to pick up a copy because that's a lot of what we talk about here is stay in your 20%, right? The Pareto
right,
principle. Like
right,
20% of your activities are going to yield 80% of your results. And what is your
right,
20%? Where should
right.
you be focusing all of your time and energy?
Yeah. Well, and the 20%, and I'm glad you say where should you that's the key phrase, because not everybody is good at, like you said, it sounds like grinding is on certain tasks or you're working frustrations,
Yeah.
you know, and so, be curious to see your assessment. And so, but where was I going with that? So back to the 20% you should be doing, because not everybody should be just making calls. I mean, they just shouldn't be,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And so what is, and that's where the team comes in. And all work has all six of those letters. Somebody had to wonder and ask the question. Somebody came up with a solution. Somebody had to discern it, and so where wonders and inventors, like, what happens is you discern it, or if you don't get it discerned and it goes right over to implementation, then the people that are implementing, they're like, they get halfway through and go, this can't even be done. It's like, because nobody discerned it, you just had this
Yeah.
idea.
Luckily, I'm married to my exact complementary opposite.
Right.
He is always asking me the logical questions behind my crazy ideas. Like,
That sounds
what
like
does that
discernment.
actually look like in reality, Linda?
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yep, reality. Gotta live in that universe.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And all teams need them, So it's funny when you move people around in the right seats, because good to great, they always talk about you want talent on your bus, but then once you have them on your bus, then you got to get them in the right seat.
Yeah.
And so, and that's kind of that getting people in the right seat. And of course, we all have to do things that are not our working geniuses. And, we have our competences and then our frustrations. And so the key is if you have to work in your frustration, you just know that there's just this time limit, just this one little time block, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
It's like me, I had a couple weeks ago, I had this like some just basic administrative stuff I had to get done. I was putting it off. I hate it, And and I finally, and then I heard that podcast. They said, just put it on a time limit and do it. If you don't get it done, just schedule another hour for the next day. And I was like, so I did it. Now, I was done in 15 minutes and I've been putting it off. I spent more time agonizing over the time it took to do it.
The amount of time we spend trying to avoid the tasks we don't want to do is far and away longer than the actual time it takes to do the task.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, I still want to hire somebody to do it though, but
yes, and that. Yeah. Right. I find myself like, I'm 15 years into this. I have a great idea of what I'm doing. I'm loving what I'm doing. And I'm so fortunate that I have just an incredible amount of really talented people around me. It's
right.
just been the wildest ride and I'm having the time of my life.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Isn't that the best when things are working out? It's the best, And a lot of that comes being self-employed,
Yeah, a lot of it does. And, we circle back to the people. I have people that I've worked with since I was 24 years old here.
Right.
It's an incredible group of people that are just so dedicated to making sure that we all succeed and that we're all working together to get there. And that's special. That's really special.
And that's key. And I think it was Bill Gates that said, to become wealthy, there's no getting around people. Very few people can do a job or a business where you're totally isolated from other people and become wealthy.
Right.
Because somebody's got to buy your product, somebody's got to buy your service, somebody's got to make your product, somebody's got to provide your service, whatever. And, so, it's just, always thought that was interesting. I think he had a quote, I think it was Bill Gates that said, if you want to become a billionaire, you have to create millionaires.
Yes.
So people underneath you you have to make them millionaires, and that all ships rise with the tide.
The key to being an empire builder is to be able to dream big enough to encompass the people working for you's dreams.
Right. There you go. Mm-hmm. There was a book, The Dream Manager, something like that. I forget. But it was a company, and it might have been a fictitious company, but so what they talked about was they had this company. It was like a cleaning company, and their turnover was like 120% a year. It's like ridiculous, They're just losing so much money because of the always retraining. So they went in and did some evaluating and say, what are some of the reasons? And one of them was transportation. People just were having a hard time getting to the jobs. So they came up with a van system, and where shuttle people around and get them to the jobs, and so, or pick them up, at least here, pick you up here and get you to the job site, whatever. And then, so that started lowering the turnover, and creating. And then they came up with what they called the Dream Manager, I believe it was called. And what they did is they met with all the employees and said, what are your dreams? What do you want? And some people are like, I want to finish high school, and the Dream Manager would help them, get them set up and say, here's, you go to this school at night and, and, 2 years they finished it. Somebody's like, I want this kind of vacation. They'd set them up on a budget, whatever their dream was, everybody through the company, and, I want to buy a house, and they hooked them up with financial people and got them figured out, and the retention went down to like, their turnover went down to like way, way low.
Yeah.
But it's all about the people again.
Yeah, it's always about the people, right?
Right.
Like so same thing, if your vision is big enough to encompass the people that work for you's visions, they'll never leave you.
Right.
But if you are not a big enough dreamer to encompass their wildest dreams, they will leave you as soon as they hit a point in their life where they feel like they can do it on their own.
They outgrew you, right? Yeah, if they're outgrowing you, they're gone.
Yeah. So it's this evolution and this constant never ending journey of bettering yourself and becoming that bigger, better dreamer so that you can cultivate other leaders underneath you that are achieving their dreams.
Right. Yeah. I like that. Something that came from a book somewhere.
It's a lot of it's a combination of a lot of books. Like a lot of these books are echoing the same sentiments.
Right. I read so many books. It's just like, here's my version of what 30 other people said.
Totally.
Yeah. So where I have to write my own book, but I need an editor.
If I find the time. Yeah.
I just need the editor. I can just sit down and, I can talk in a microphone, send it off to somebody, overseas and have them type it up and then have somebody edit it for me. So
there you go. Life lessons from Rob Aubrey. I can't wait.
Yep. Yeah. And I have a couple books in my mind. My one I want to do is, the title or the working title I had in my head was Revolution, Constitution, Institution. And so I have 3 examples, right, of, how that worked. And one of them was, the 3 examples are Christianity. Christianity started, then it was a revolution, and then it became a constitution, if you will, and then it became institutionalized.
Yeah.
And then rock and roll did the same thing, right? Yes. When rock and roll first came out, it was like, people were like, what is that? You imagine some corporate executive that grew up in the 50s. He's now in the 60s. He's got the IBM suit and tie cigar, and then like Jimi Hendrix walks in, it's like, okay, it's like, that was the revolution, then it became commercialized, and then the guys that grew up in the 60s, they took over rock and roll music in the late 70s, and then it became corporate rock,
Right.
And then, of course, the United States is the same thing, as a revolution, a constitution. That's where I got the names from. Now we're institutionalized. And so I want to, I think there's a lot of research in that, and that's where I'm kind of stuck. And that's not going to be that'll be my working frustration doing all the research,
Just write it as Rob's fiction. Yeah,
right. There you go.
There's some truth. No fact checking required.
No fact check. Yeah, no fact checkers need not apply. Yeah, I love that idea. So, so you have your team and you're coaching. So where do you see yourself in, say, 5 years?
Oh man, 5 years. 5 years is a little bit messy. The 10-year plan is a little bit clearer.
Okay.
So the 10-year
Well, what do you see in 10 years? Yeah.
10-year plan. I've got a couple of development projects on the horizon that I'm working on. So in 10 years, I'll be with all, if everything goes as planned, I'll be largely in the development world, building large scale commercial projects and apartment buildings and those kinds of things. My passion really is there, like back to the architecture, back to the beginning.
Right. And wonder and inventing.
Yeah. So that's the 10-year plan is be mostly retired out of real estate. I don't think I'll ever quit selling real estate. I love it too much. But the focus looks different, and I'll
Right.
be doing a lot more large scale projects.
Right. Yeah. That's your boss Boyd one time, well, he got it from, what was his name? Who was the guy that wrote the affirmation to wealth? John, God, what was his name?
Oh,
He passed away a couple years ago.
yeah,
Alexandrov.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, and he got
Brilliant
it.
man, by the way,
Yeah.
and fully admitted that even though he was a multimillionaire, he still shopped at the dollar store, like
Right.
just totally cheap.
See, he was the one that said, if you want to make more money, do bigger deals.
Yes.
It's just that
Yeah.
simple.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
Sam
I
Walton was the
mean,
same way. Sam Walton were like, he's a billionaire in their interview. I'm like, so where do you get your haircut? He's like, the barber shop. Where do you think I get a haircut? It's like,
yeah, I think we get this idea in our minds that like wealthy people somehow live in this different
yeah,
environment,
limousines and
right?
caviar.
Yeah, and it's like, no, we're still real people and we still
Right,
do real people things. And in fact, a lot of us are still just as cheap as we were when we had nothing.
right.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's the truth.
yep,
And it's if you want to have more money, go do bigger deals.
right,
That is the key.
right. What was in the book? What was it the Millionaire Next Door? I think it was, where they basically is a scientific research to millionaires, and they were doing a meeting one time, and they put out, they had like champagne and caviar, and then they had like beer and pretzels, and they go out in the parking lot and they examine all the cars, and they're mostly
Toyota
pickup.
Camrys, Rob. Toyota Camrys.
I have two cars. I have a Camry and I have a '79 Rolls Royce.
Yep. Yep. You
My
got the
Rolls Royce is
fancy car,
yeah.
and
Well,
then
I
you
don't
got
even
your
drive it,
commuter car. Yeah.
but they were out there and like, they were driving pickup trucks on average. The beer and pretzels were gone. Nobody touched the champagne and caviar.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
like, and these are guys, these are researchers, academia, and they were like surprised, because they had that concept, the jet set lifestyle.
Yeah. And it's funny because like exposing that really does open up opportunity for these people that are getting into our industry and are really like hungry to go out and build something really big. It's like, let's pull back the curtain and just show you that these people that you have had up on this giant pedestal are
Right.
just real folks. They're just
Right.
real folks.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Then there was I don't know if it was the same guy, the sequel. A lot of times they had the second book and you read it and it's like, that looks like that was leftover material from the first book. So,
Yeah.
and so I think it was The Millionaire Mind. One of the things
Yeah.
they talked about was buying high quality wood furniture, like a high quality wood dining table, because you can refinish it a couple times. It'll last you 60 years. You may pay a little more money for it up front when you're younger, but if you average it out over 60 years, it's like it was pennies,
Yeah.
And the same thing
Yeah.
with like good couches, get them reupholstered and get them recovered, if they're high
Totally.
quality enough, you can. I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting. So
It's all things in life, right? Like
right,
this industry itself is very simple. It's
right.
just not easy.
No, it's hard work, simple business, but hard work. That's
Yeah.
the truth. I teach a lead gen CE class. When I get to like for sale by owners, expireds, and circle dialing, I'm like, first of all, if you have low self-esteem, stay away from this. If your self-esteem's pretty good, you're still going to need a dog.
Yeah. You're going to need like a support, like an emotional support for
Right.
sure.
When you come home, they love you anyway.
Yes.
What's the old
Yeah.
joke? What's the difference between a dog and a wife? Lock them in the trunk of a car for a half hour and find out which one's happy to see you. She's happy your wife's happy to see you, but she wants to strangle you. Where the dog's like,
Yeah.
yay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you go out check the
Definitely.
mail and come back and they're happy to see you. It's like,
Yes.
so anyway, yeah, that's kind of fun. So in 10 years, so you got big development projects you're going to be doing. Good for you. So,
Mhm.
And then,
Yeah, that, and just a whole bunch of travel and really enjoying my husband. Our kids will at that time be one will be out of college, the other one will be getting into college,
right.
and it'll be time
Yeah,
for us to just go and adventure.
right. Yeah, I love traveling.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah,
I did Europe. It's I don't know how many countries in Europe, at least 6 or 7. I've been to India, Philippines. Never been to Mexico. God, I mean, it's like a 3.5 hour
you gotta
flight.
go.
I know.
Mexico's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in South Florida for 11 years, so I've been around the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel like anyone that has family in Florida or has lived in Florida has been all over the Caribbean. It's like a
right,
no-brainer.
right. I mean, the Bahamas is literally like, I mean, it's like a 40-minute ride on a drug runner.
Yeah,
So that's what they
yeah.
call the big cigarette boats. Big 4 motors on the
Hmm.
back, 40 minutes, come straight to the Bahamas.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, no, travel would be amazing. And then at that point in our lives, we'll still be kind of in this space and age where we can really go and do whatever we want to.
right,
And that was the goal of getting into real estate and doing well in real estate. Was I don't want to work until I die.
right,
I want to have a plan to be able to go and enjoy my life while I'm still young enough to go and enjoy it. And we've
right,
made a real point to go and do that. So we take 2 big vacations every year. I say vacation, one's a family trip, and let's be clear, there is a difference.
right.
Family trip, if your
Oh,
children
yeah.
come with you, it is not a vacation.
No.
And the vacation is just us, and we always go somewhere that we haven't been and that we want to go adventure together.
Yeah, when my kids were little, so my ex-wife, she was from Wisconsin. My family's in Pennsylvania. So like because we had to go to 2 different it was like, man, I'm like one year, I'm like, I want to go on a freaking vacation, you know, where we go some beach somewhere, we see family, great, you know, but I'm like, I'm tired of going here and there and just hanging out. I mean, not that I didn't want to see my family, but I wanted to go on a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're two different things.
Yep,
They're two different things. So yeah, we do a lot of that, and we'll just do that a whole lot more in the next decade. Yeah.
right. Yeah, mine. So I just had a client, borrower client that we closed, and she was on a sabbatical, and she was so she did this thing with this company. I don't know, I don't remember the name of it, but she was basically a house sitter, pet sitter. And so
Yes, I've heard
and
of this. You get paid a lot of money to stay in New York penthouses watching people's
yeah,
dogs.
and you get to go live somewhere
Yeah.
nice. And these aren't poor people that are doing it. So
Oh,
you're
no, no,
staying in
no.
some nice house.
Yeah.
So she lived in Utah, she was in Alaska, she's in a state all around the country, and decided Utah was the place.
Huh.
So I'm like, man, I could do that. Just pack my monitors and computer. When my wife gets here, we'll go travel. I get to travel around the country. And
Yeah.
because it's one thing to go visit on vacation, like as a tourist, and another thing to go live there and like, what's it like to shop at the local grocery store on a routine basis, that type of stuff.
Yes.
Because I mean, the United States is so big. I mean, you really don't get to like you can travel and see it, but it's not experiencing it. Like when I was in the Philippines last year, I was there for 3 months. That's a whole different story than being a tourist.
Oh, for sure.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You're never going to be able to experience the culture and the people and the
right,
lifestyle if you're there for a week. Like,
right, or even 2 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're 2 weeks. You're like you got to hit some tourist spots and call it good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
I
I'm
mean,
like, that's pretty cool.
it's a cool opportunity. I had some clients that were downsizing, they were selling, and that was what they wanted to do because they didn't know where they wanted to be next. And so
Right,
they were going to go to New York first, and they were going to house sit in New York City for a couple of months, and then they were going to go somewhere else.
right. I
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe I'll look for something down in Florida.
there you
You know,
go.
because I lived in Florida for 11 years before moving to Utah. So
Where were
I
you
like
at in Florida, Rob?
I lived in Dade County for 2 years, and then I moved up to Broward County. Dade's where Miami is. I was south of Miami, and then I
Yeah.
moved up to Fort Lauderdale, which I lived in a town just north of Fort Lauderdale called Pompano Beach. I mean, it was like literally the difference between going from South Salt Lake to Salt Lake City, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we've spent a bunch of time in like the Sarasota,
Sure.
Destin, like the Gulf side area.
Right.
And I think it's just this cool part of Florida that not a lot
Right.
of people know about. Like everyone knows Miami, right? Like
Right.
everyone knows what
Yeah, I
that
don't
looks
like
like.
Miami.
Everyone knows Orlando. Everyone knows
Right.
what that looks like. But like the Gulf side of Florida is a cool place to go.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at like I want to go back. I'm looking at the Orlando area, not only because because I'll still have business here, so I have to come back and forth. And
Yeah.
so Orlando is the only place that I'm aware of that's easy. I mean, so right now Delta has 3 direct nonstop flights a day to Orlando. So I can get
Yeah.
in and vice versa. I mean, so I can get in and out of Orlando easier. But some of the other ones, you like Tampa's got you take a red eye, and I'm like, oh God, I hate those, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'll maintain my residence here. I'll just jump on a plane with no bag, Uber from the airport to the house and all good, you know.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I'll have 2 Camrys. So,
There, yeah, two. You gotta have two, but don't buy anything fancier. You only can have the one
nope.
fancy car.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't that expensive. I mean, it's an old car, you know, but it's a cool
Yeah.
old car. I mean, it's cool. I mean, the freaking thing is huge, man. It's like literally takes up my garage. It's like you can barely shimmy across the front. With the garage door down, you can't get it behind the back of it. I mean, it's
Oh,
that
it's
big.
the full 18 feet long. Yep.
Man, it's like the whole garage, you know? And it's like, I mean, it's huge. But the back seat, though, like you could sit in the back seat. I mean, it's literally, when the armrest goes down, it's just 2 big seats. You can cross your legs. I mean, it's meant to be sit in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yes.
all leather and carpet and mahogany. It's like leather and mahogany. I mean, they're hand-built cars, you know?
It's the Anchorman special. Many
Yeah.
leather bound books and
Yep.
mahogany everywhere. Yeah.
My one buddy calls it the Grey Poupon car. I don't know if you remember that commercial.
I
Is that
sure do. I
is
sure
that Grey
do.
Poupon? Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah. So tell me. So you mentioned like the thing you didn't like was making the calls and whatnot. I mean, not that you didn't like it. It's like your least favorite. The grind of it. So,
Yeah.
but tell us how did you grow your business to where you're doing 30 to 50 deals a year?
Yeah. So because of the fact that I knew that was going to be a challenge for me, I had to make it fun.
Right.
So I have built a business on some really strategic client facing events. So I have 3 different kinds of events that I do. I have events where people come to me. I have
Okay.
events where I go to them. And then I
Okay.
have events where I just provide an item of value. So a pop by gift.
Right.
So once a quarter, I'll do a pop by gift. And once a quarter, I'll do an inbound telephone call. So I give something away and people call me. And
Right.
then the events where I go to them are obviously the pop by gifts, and then also we'll do like a movie theater. We'll
Oh,
do
I see. Yeah.
pretty standard stuff. The key to this though was I had to curate events that I myself wanted to attend,
Right.
because then I got really excited about calling all my people.
To invite them to the event. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So everyone knows I sell real estate.
Right.
That's always very in the front, right? I sell real estate, and this event is not about real estate. This event is for
Just
you because you
right.
support my business.
Right.
And who do you know that might be considering buying or selling? Bring them with you to the event.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just continued to snowball. We now at this point, we've been consistently doing a series of these events for the last almost decade.
Okay.
And we have clients that really anticipate these events. They
Right.
know
They're
when they're
waiting.
going to
Right.
be, they're waiting for their invitations. They're waiting for me to call them. And
Right.
it just made making those phone calls so much more enjoyable, because in the process of calling and inviting them to a party, they're like, oh, hey, my friend so-and-so said they're looking at selling or
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
buying. Yeah.
So when you
So
do
I
it, is
made
it
it
just,
fun.
yeah, is it just your event or do you partner with other agents?
So the large majority of them are just myself, just my
Okay.
team. But our brokerage does put on
Yeah, like Death
quarterly
by Chocolate,
events
right?
for our agents. Yeah.
Right.
So those are really low cost. Every agent can invite all of their people. It's a really great way for people that don't have the bandwidth or the money to put into
Right.
their own event
To do an
to
event,
still
right?
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And then the events, the other event that we do is the We Go Together. So for the last several years, I have sponsored the Twilight concert series downtown at the Gallivan Center.
I see.
And so I will strategically call clients that have done business with us or have referred business to us, and I will bring them as a VIP guest to whatever show they want to go to.
I see. That
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. So you built your business that way. That's, yeah. It's always fun
Yeah.
to,
It's
to hear how different people, there's a lot of similarities between in the top producers, but it's just one tends to lean a little heavier on one than versus the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about like living in your genius, right?
Right.
Like, I know for me that it's fun for me to interact with people in person. Phone
Right.
calls are incredibly boring for me. I don't like them. So I had to find a way to make them fun
Right.
and then find a way to like gamify the whole idea of lead generation.
Right. And it's not, yeah. And it's less of a grind to call people, invite them to a party. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like, anybody can do that. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
and making it fun. Yeah. So, yeah, when the whole lead gen type thing, prospecting, whatever you want to call it, I actually changed the word to appointment setting sessions, because what was that acronym for? Um, oh God, they had an acronym for, and it was for the different jobs, right? Appointments, plan,
yeah.
prospect, lead follow up,
Prospect, prospect
appointments,
lead follow-up
and negotiate.
appointments. Yep. And they've changed it again. So now it's lead generation, lead follow-up, appointments, negotiations, and then conversations.
Right.
What are you gonna say? Like, what are you
Right.
gonna say when someone tells you no? And what are you gonna say when someone tells you yes?
Right. So I heard one agent say, prospect, lead follow up, appointments, and not my job. So, you know,
That's leverage right there.
right, right.
Leverage.
So, and with mine, when I teach time blocking, like, and I broke it down. I broke it down to three things. So so rather than call it prospect and a lead follow up, I call it appointment setting sessions because that
Yeah.
encompasses both of them. And it also changes the focus. Sometimes you get, prospecting, you get hung up in what I call contactitis. You're just
Yes.
trying to get your contacts in, but you're really not focused on setting an appointment. And so
Yes.
if your block says appointment setting sessions, well, we have a little more focus. So I do appointment setting sessions, appointments, and negotiate. So those are three. And then my time blocking, I broke it into 4 time blocks, right? Morning routine, and that's different for everybody based on their lifestyle. For if you're an empty nest, it's different than if you got to get 3 kids to school.
Yep.
And so then time block 2 is just your appointment setting sessions, whatever that is. And then time block 3 is return phone calls and emails and work on files. Because if you work, unless if you're a solo agent, literally, if you worked on files for 15 minutes a day, you're going to be caught up.
Yeah.
Because if you're that busy, well, then you need a transaction. I say get a transaction coordinator anyway.
Yeah.
But so, and then have lunch, so that's time block 3. And then time block 4 will be prepare for and go on appointments.
Yeah.
So, and then if you master 1 and 2, 3 and 4 just take care of itself.
Exactly. It's your 20%, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Time block 2 is your, 25% based on 4 blocks, but I like keeping it simple because it has a higher probability of success if it's simple.
Yes.
You get this like 7 to 7:15. I do this. It's like, no, 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 no.
Simple, but not easy, right?
Right.
Like
It's still hard
but
work.
not easy.
Right. It's hard work, but it's a simple business. It just need to find people that are moving and help them.
Yep.
That's it.
Looking for the D's. You're looking for diapers, death, divorce, downsizing.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I heard them as 3 Ds: death, divorce, and debt, but diapers is good. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, if people have enough babies, they got to move to a new place.
Oh yeah. And what's the likelihood of that happening in Utah, right?
Weird,
Yeah.
weird.
Who
I
would
don't
have
know.
thought? Yeah.
Yeah,
Who would have thought? Yeah. I always feel like a slacker with 2 kids, It's
same.
like,
I'm like, I
yeah,
did the responsible thing, and somehow I feel like I'm failing. I like don't have enough of them.
right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a weird. So, and so like my idea, because you're like, I don't want to work till I die. And it's like, you know, I don't know if I want to have to work till I die, but like I don't see myself like not working,
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
I'll never stop working. That's really what I should qualify that. I don't want to have to work until I die.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's,
So
that's the thing. Like if you love what you do, you're not going to be, it's not work, right? Like
right,
this is a passion. This is
right,
something that fuels me. And if you
right.
took that away, if you were to tell me like mandatorily, like, no,
Yeah.
you're
Now what do you do?
65 years old, you can't work anymore. I that's death for me. That
Right.
doesn't work.
Yeah. What I want to do, what I call my work optional job is, so that's rather than retire, I call it work optional. And
Oh, there you
so
go.
I want to be a consultant for nonprofits. So that's,
I like
and
it.
I have the formula because I served nonprofits, and all the things that we've learned over the years as far as building a teams and organizations and coaching, and then I've been, I served on nonprofit boards. I've been the chair of a nonprofit, and things like that. I know the formula, and it's like, and there may be some nuance differences based on what they're, and here's the cool part about it, right? So I'll get to like pretty much around the country, even the world for that matter, but um, just you meet people that are passionate about because they love what they're doing and they're passionate about serving whomever it is they're serving, and then you get to walk beside them for a period of time. I mean that's really the job,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like and there's a kind of a basic formula because nonprofits go through the 3 phases are like what they call the working board, right? Those that are on the streets doing the work, they're the
Yeah.
board of directors. then the, and then the next time, then as they grow a little bit, they get more volunteers, and then they kind of gravitate up a little bit, but they're still quasi working in the field, but they're really not board material. They were just got the Peter principle. Have you ever heard of the Peter principle? People
Yeah.
they're promoted to their level of incompetence.
Yes. Those that can't do teach and those that can't teach administrate.
Right. There you go. That's what they say. And yeah, there's some truth to that. I mean, I love teaching, but I can do. I've done
Sure.
it.
You're a rarity though.
Right. Right. And so that yeah, I think that references more of the academic community
Yes.
than the doing community,
Yes.
because they call themselves intellectual. I'm like, you're not an intellectual, you're a freaking academic,
And there
period. I
is a
mean,
difference.
yeah,
Yeah.
intellectual means that you're intelligent, I'm not. And I'm like, no, let's not go there. So, but anyway, so ultimately, if they hire me, ultimately what I'm going to do is fire the board, right, at some point. So the goal is to figure out a way to transition the current board members back as a volunteer on the streets and get more board members on purpose, get an attorney on the board, get a CPA on the board, get a corporate executive that knows structure, depending on whatever it is you're serving, then we'll figure out those other nuances. But I mean, that's the formula. And then the
Yeah.
next layer of board, the next level of board is where it's just a fundraising board, and it's like $100,000 to be on the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not make 100,000. You got to pay 100,000 to get
You
on the
got to
board.
pay 100,000. Yeah. And I mean, it's the same concept in real estate, right? Like there's so many of us that get into this industry, and our genius really truly is in the sales portion and recognizing what your genius is and being able to hire and place the right people in the positions to support you staying in that genius.
Right.
That is where you excel. That is where you
Right.
succeed.
Yep. It's the same principle. And it's
Yeah.
just that they, like I said, that people get, they're working as a volunteer. Hey, we need help on the board. And they're like, okay, I'll help. They're the enablers. Okay, I'll do it. And they're like, and it's not their deal. They rather
Yeah,
be on the street helping people,
exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of the formula for, and that's what I want to do. Because I mean, think about it, get to travel around and meet people that are just passionate about serving the human race. I mean,
Yes.
how cool would that be?
I mean, there's a very all we hear in the media, Rob, is
Oh
negativity and
God.
just like clickbait
Right.
devastation, right? The
Right.
reality of my world, and I'll preface this with I don't watch a lot of news. I
No,
feel
I
like
don't
it's
watch
just
news.
clickbait, like I just don't.
Right.
But the reality of my world is I get to see the beautiful side of people all the time.
Right.
That's really special. And I think that we as realtors and lenders in this industry, we have the unique opportunity to really not only see the best of what's out there, but we're in a position where we can share that
Right.
and really share the human experience back to
Right.
people in a way that they're not being told from the media. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good happening out there right now, a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
good.
Yep.
And don't
But it
be tricked
but it
into
doesn't sell
false
commercials.
negative news.
Yeah, it doesn't sell commercials.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. One of the things I've always loved that when I was a real estate agent on the streets was, like first time home buyers were, they required a little more educating, but once you get the hang of it, it was no big deal. But the the experience of going to and meet, because Utah, if you're listening outside of Utah, we don't table fund. You don't get the keys at closing for the most part. You usually get the keys the next day, unless there's just delayed possession. But meeting them at the house and open up the lockbox and give them the keys, man, that never got old. They were
no,
so excited. Like you got a young couple, they're giddy, they're holding hands under the table. They're so excited. Oh, God, that just never got old for me.
yeah.
Never. Loved it. I mean, I can think of a couple experiences I almost get choked up remembering those experiences,
Yeah.
because I got to be a part of their family's history.
Yeah.
How cool is
We
that?
we get to handle and guide people through the largest transaction they will ever make in their lives.
Right. Unless
And I
they
don't
sell that and
take
buy a
that
bigger one,
lightly. Yeah, we
which is the
are,
next larger one.
which is the next larger purchase. And we are
Yeah. And
the
I don't take it
linchpin
lightly.
in
No.
people's pivotal moments in their lives. That is special. That is very special.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, I've always loved that part of it. Never got old for me. Never got old.
Yeah.
So anyway,
If it ever does, if you're out there, if you're grinding, if you're on the streets and you're selling homes and that part gets
goes
old to
away.
you,
Yeah.
you're in the wrong industry.
It's time to hang it up, or
Yeah.
at least take a break anyway and get rejuvenated,
Yes.
you know. So, well, is there anything I haven't asked you that I should be asking you?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Certainly, if anything comes up, you know where to find me.
Right. Well, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and talk about your coaching that you offer as a team leader, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you are welcome to follow me on social media. It's at Lou Sells Salt Lake, or at Abode SLC.
About
Both of those are my Instagram accounts. I'm all over social media. I'm on LinkedIn, or you can just look up Keller Williams Salt Lake City and you can just give
right.
me a call.
And her name is Linda Burtch, and it's spelled Burtch. So not like Birch, the tree.
Yeah, not like the tree. My old last name was even worse. Not like the color. I mean, I'm always trying to keep it a little bit complex. So
Right.
Birch, Burtch.
Right. So if you want to learn more, and she's obviously been successful, and you can tell that she's got a good head on her shoulders, right? I think, at least I think you do anyway. So,
I do most days, yes.
right. Yeah. I have my moments, either side of the fence, right? So, but, well, thanks, man. You've been a great guest. Thanks for coming, Linda.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. And so, and of course, my name is Rob Aubrey. I'm your host of a Productive Agent podcast, and this is powered by Aubrey Home Loans from Nexa Mortgage. So thanks for joining us. And if anybody has any questions, if you can't find me, you're not looking. I mean, it's like, seriously, I'm only on the first 300 pages of Google of Rob Aubrey, so